This footage shows a 15-year-old Caitlin Clark competing for Dowling Catholic High School. At that point in her career, she was widely viewed as the top high school basketball player in the nation, putting up ridiculous stat lines in every category. Yet even with non-stop media coverage, trophies, and national praise, there were still doubters who questioned whether she was truly elite. And yes, those are exactly the people we're talking about. Picture this: you're the #1 player in the country, barely into your teenage years, and already dealing with a growing crowd of critics trying to rattle you mentally. Most kids would have cracked under that kind of pressure and seen their performance fall apart. But Caitlin was wired differently. On her very first touch, she weaves her way to the basket with ease. Just look at the reaction from the defender, frozen and embarrassed. Moments later, Clark casually pulls up from deep and drains a long three. Again and again, the gym fell silent as she poured in shot after shot, nothing but net. By the final buzzer, the 15-year-old phenom had erupted for 42 points, completely silencing the hecklers. Cue the "Hello Darkness" moment. Even Kobe Bryant, as an 18-year-old rookie, hadn't yet developed that ruthless mentality. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark was already playing like a cold-blooded scorer at 15, while most kids her age were still learning how to drive. That's what happens when you doubt Caitlin Clark. And if she could dominate like that in high school, imagine what awaited at the professional level. Fast forward to May 11, 2025. Caitlin Clark faces Rhyne Howard as the Indiana Fever take on the Atlanta Dream in a preseason matchup. The game was fairly uneventful, with both teams easing into the new season until things suddenly escalated. As Clark attacked the rim, Rhyne Howard smacked her across the face, then stared her down as Caitlin lay on the floor in pain. Despite taking a hard hit, Clark still finished the night with 13 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds, while Indiana secured the preseason win. Although she didn't respond directly in that game, payback came during their next meeting in the regular season. From the opening tip, Caitlin set the tone, scoring an and-one on Howard while attacking off the wrong foot. She navigated screens well, dished out crisp passes, and capped the first quarter with a high-arcing shot. Clark then heated up, knocking down a deep three and continuing to find teammates in perfect rhythm. She followed that up with more big shots, drilling jumpers right in front of Howard. After using a screen, Clark buried another three, keeping the pressure on. The scoring surge carried into the second half, and in the fourth quarter, Caitlin completely took over. She drained back-to-back logo threes that sent the crowd into chaos, showcasing her signature confidence and range. After taking punishment earlier and enduring the stare down, Clark answered with a dominant double-double: 27 points, 11 assists, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals. But the tension didn't end there. 2 days later, during their rematch, things became even more heated. Physical play led to trash talk, and Howard got in Caitlin's face, jawing at her aggressively. Clark refused to back down and fired right back. Teammates quickly stepped in to separate the two as emotions boiled over. The intensity only increased from that point. In the third quarter, Brittney Griner delivered a hard elbow to Clark while coming off a screen, resulting in an offensive foul. Clearly frustrated, Griner picked up her 5th foul and headed to the bench, venting her anger in the process. Despite facing hostility from multiple opponents, Caitlin stayed composed. When the game tightened late, Clark rose to the moment. She broke down Howard with a slick move, drew a crucial foul for 3 free throws, came up with a key defensive stop, and then delivered the game-sealing assist to Aaliyah Boston. Even though her stat line wasn't eye-popping in that matchup, Caitlin clearly outplayed Howard and Griner when it mattered most. More importantly, she proved she was the best player on the floor by making the decisive plays down the stretch. Now, when discussions turned to Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers and who truly reigned supreme, one legendary coach had a different opinion. UConn head coach Gino Auriemma once declared that Paige Bueckers was the best player in America, citing analytics and numbers as his reasoning. While it's understandable to support your own player, those comments were made during Caitlin's final season at Iowa. And when you compare Clark and Bueckers head-to-head, Caitlin clearly outperformed her across nearly every statistical category. Interestingly, Those remarks came just days before Iowa and UConn were set to clash in the semifinals of the 2024 NCAA tournament. Now, it's unclear whether Caitlin Clark ever heard what Coach Gino said in that interview, but knowing her competitive nature, she let her performance speak for itself. Right from the opening moments, Clark attacked the defense, slicing through 3 defenders in blue and finishing at the rim. Playing more off the ball, Caitlin continued to apply pressure. Whenever Paige Bueckers scored on one end, Clark immediately responded on the other. Drive and finish. Bucket answered with another bucket. The duel was relentless. Paige knocked down a layup, Caitlin answered with a 3. Bueckers followed with a 3 and a 2, and Clark fired back with a massive 4-point play. Neither star gave an inch. Their head-to-head battle carried into the tense moments of the fourth quarter. With the game hanging in the balance, it was Caitlin who sealed the win, calmly sinking a clutch free throw before knocking the ball off Bueckers' leg to drain the remaining seconds. Clark finished just shy of a triple-double with 21 points, 7 assists, and 9 rebounds. More importantly, it was Caitlin and the Iowa Hawkeyes who punched their ticket to the national championship game. CC versus Jacy Sheldon. Outside of Angel Reese, Caitlin's rivalry with Paige Bueckers is one that followed her all the way to the WNBA. But when it comes to physical, fiery matchups, Jacy Sheldon deserves a mention. Unlike Paige, Sheldon plays with more edge and aggression. During their college days, the two nearly came to blows while fighting for a loose ball, with emotions flaring as both players got tangled up on the floor. Caitlin never got her chance to respond back then, but the perfect opportunity arrived during her WNBA preseason debut against the Dallas Wings. After opening that game by drilling back-to-back threes, Clark found herself isolated against Sheldon at the top of the key. What followed was brutal. Caitlin broke her down, sent her stumbling to the floor, and buried the 3 anyway. It was cold. Their regular season matchup delivered more of the same, as Clark once again dropped Sheldon, marking the second embarrassing moment in their rivalry. One thing was certain, Sheldon wasn't going to allow a third time without retaliation. Fast forward to the following season. Sheldon was now wearing a Connecticut Sun jersey, but her unfinished business with Clark remained. In their matchup against the Fever, Sheldon picked up Caitlin full court from the opening possession. Even with relentless pressure, Clark still rose up and drilled a shot right over her. Realizing she couldn't guard her cleanly, Sheldon shifted tactics, opting for physical play and trash talk. The officials had to step in as both players jawed at each other, with Sheldon adding extra contact whenever possible. She believed those antics would throw Caitlin off her rhythm, but instead, it lit a fire. Clark responded by torching the Sun on consecutive possessions, pulling up in transition and knocking down tough shots. As the game intensified, Sheldon continued to play Caitlin aggressively, bumping her on every touch. When that didn't work, things escalated. In a moment that went viral, Sheldon poked Clark in the eye. Caitlin shoved her back, and Marina Mabrey suddenly came flying in, flattening Clark from the side. It turned into a 2-on-1 confrontation, and for a moment, it appeared Sheldon had gained the upper hand. But just like before, the tactic backfired. The Fever rallied behind Clark, building a commanding lead. With around 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Caitlin delivered the dagger. A deep 3 splashed right in Sheldon's face. After draining it, Clark made sure the Sun bench knew exactly who they were dealing with. Before the final buzzer, Sophie Cunningham added the exclamation point, ensuring Sheldon wouldn't forget that night. CC versus the referees, and New York. The ending of that game was chaotic, and the same could be said for May 24, 2025, against the New York Liberty. Clark was in her bag early, tossing pinpoint passes, launching deep outlets, and even blowing by the former 2-time MVP, Breanna Stewart, on a strong drive. Caitlin's impact was everywhere. In the third quarter, she raised the temperature, hitting a tough step-back 3, drawing the foul, and then launching an outrageous logo shot at the buzzer. Everything was clicking until the final possession. With 1 second remaining, the officials effectively decided the game. Clark didn't get the shot off, but there was clear contact as she attempted to rise. It could have gone either way, but the whistle ended it. Shortly after, Caitlyn was sidelined for nearly a month due to injury. But revenge has a funny way of waiting. On June 14th, she returned to action on the very same floor, against the very same team. Remembering how the last meeting ended, Clark wasted no time. She came out unstoppable. Before the first quarter ended, she buried not one, not two, but 3 straight deep threes, sending an immediate message. The Indiana Phenom kept pouring it on in the following quarters, mixing scoring with crisp playmaking to keep her teammates involved. Once again, she cooked Breanna Stewart, this time stepping back and drilling a 3 right over her. Caitlyn's scoring explosion continued into the second half, and by the final horn, the Fever had taken down the former champions. In her return, Clark delivered a masterpiece: 32 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, and 7 three-pointers. And that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed watching Caitlyn Clark deliver cold-blooded revenge against her on-court rivals, make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more CC content. This is the Hoop Doctor. Catch you in the next one.